Hey everybody, it's Angela and I'm back with another process video, and this one is going to be a layout of me playing the flute. It's something that I've done for many years, and I was actually in a jazz band for a while, and I've never documented it. I don't even have any pictures of me and my flute or me playing or anything. So I went ahead and just took a selfie and thought I would document the fact that I play the flute. So I just have some white cardstock, and I have that music stamp, a rubber stamp that I think I got out of the $1.50 bin at Michael's at some point. And I'm just going to stamp that in 3 spots on my cardstock, and then I'm using this gold embossing powder just to give that a little bit of a sparkle and a resist, because I want to use some of my distress stains, I guess, on here. So I'm going ahead, just putting my 3rd area that I'm going to emboss. And I've used this stamp before for like New Orleans, when we went to the French Quarter and stuff where all the jazz was, and I did a layout using this stamp too. I've used it quite a few times actually for a $1.50 bin stamp. I get a lot of usage out of it. I should play it sometime and see what it actually is. I may be surprised as to what tune that is. And then I pulled out this stencil from SaCrafters, and it's this beautiful full-size branch of flowers. And they kind of remind me, I don't know, of like dogwoods or magnolias or something like that. It's just a gorgeous stencil. And I like that it's 12 inches tall and really makes a statement on the page. So again, I am going to emboss this because I want it to be able to resist. And I had just taped it down with some washi tape. And I was going to do it white, but then I really liked that gold, so I decided to just go ahead and do the branch gold as well. So I'm just going ahead and spreading my embossing powder on there. And you can see there's a couple spots that in those thin branches where I didn't press the Versamark pad down into the stencil enough, but I'm okay with that. It's no big deal. It's a little hard to get that sticky Versamark stuff down in all the crevices of a stencil sometimes when you're embossing. A little easier to use the stencils with the ink and stuff, but I just love this effect. So I'm just going ahead and heat embossing that. And then I'm going to pull out my photo, I believe, and just kind of double check where I want to place it. And then I want to mat it on something that'll bring in kind of these peachy colors, and I wanted to use the top or bottom of that paper because I do want to use that gold embossed back side of that paper on another layout. So I just wanted to bring some of those soft peaches and stuff from that paper into my mat. And then I'm looking through some of my other SaCrafters products, and I have that butterfly, which I don't think I wind up using, but I know I have a bunch of her notes and things. So I'm just going through, pulling out the treble clef and a bunch of notes. So I'm liking that. I've used these notes a lot too for like baby pages where there's like lullaby music and stuff like that. These little notes just work for a lot of things. So now I'm going to go and pull my distress stains. I'm looking through as to what colors I have and which ones I want to use. I've just kind of made that little template. As I buy another color, I kind of swipe it on there. So I'm grabbing the ones I like, and there's some flowers that I want to use on this, some Recollections flowers that I got at Michael's, these right here. So I want to grab a stain that's going to complement those. And I kind of want to stay with the peaches and pinks and something really light. So I grab, I think it is the Tattered Rose and Victorian Velvet that I use on this, and I'm just spraying it onto some packaging, or smearing it onto some packaging and then spraying a little water on top of that. Yeah, and there's where I put the Victorian Velvet. And then back to the Tattered Rose, put a little bit of water on there. Just kind of move the color around. I don't have any gesso on this paper, so it doesn't, you know, flow super great, but it's working just fine. I just want hints of color on there. And then I think that's gonna just about do it. I just wanted to put it kind of where that branch was, and like I said, the gold embossing shows right up through because it's a good resist. So I just pulled out, this is one of the practice, my study books that I play from a lot, and so I just printed out a copy of one of the exercises from that book, and I'm going to use that to map my photo. I thought it would be cool to use something that, you know, I actually play in order, you know, to make the actual mat. And then that brings a little bit of black in there. And then I have these Kaiser Craft, I think it's All That Glitters. And I just pulled out some of these soft flowers that also kind of had the colors that I'm going for, just to give some layering and some extra interest. Also have a tag that I think I wind up using. So I'm just going to stick my mat down. And then I'm going to put my photo up on some foam tape. So I'm just looking for that. There we go. And that way it'll lift it up, and it'll be about the same height as the music notes, the MDF pieces, when I put them on. And I did paint all my MDF wood pieces with white acrylic paint. And I thought about using distress stain on them, and then I decided I just wanted to leave them white. There you can see I also painted these two SaCrafter's swirls, but I don't wind up using them. I really wanted the notes themselves to stand out, so I didn't really want anything to compete with it, and I thought the swirls kind of competed with the music notes. So there's the flowers that, the Recollections flowers that I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my photo down. And I'm just going to use the 3 smallest flowers from that flower pack. These 3 here. And I'm liking that. Just trying to figure out my clusters a little bit. I wasn't too sure about them. And I like that tag that says "Love This," and it brings a little more of the black from the music notes in. I'm not sure whether to put it in that upper left-hand corner cluster or somewhere else, so I'm kind of just going on to something else, and I figure it'll come to me later what I like. I was going to use my quick dry adhesive and then decided against it, and was going to use my hot glue gun. So I'm just heating up my hot glue gun now while I go to this thicker pack. And I finally just got some of these thicker words, these glitter words. I know I'm kind of late to the party on that, but yeah, I finally got some and I'm just loving them. So I liked the document because I'm just kind of documenting the fact, you know, that I play the flute. And so I go ahead and put that there. And then that gives me a place for that flower cluster to the left of my title. And then I take that one off because the pink in that flower was just too saturated of a pink. I put it there, and then later I still just don't like that saturated pink. I don't have any other of that shade of pink on there, so I do wind up just taking that off. So now I'm going to have a cluster at the bottom left of the photo, to the left of the title, and the top left of my layout. And then that top flower on my top cluster there, it didn't have a leaf, and I really wanted it to have a leaf too. So I pulled a leaf off one of the flowers still in the pack, but it was kind of a big leaf, and so I swapped it out. I put the bigger leaf on that bottom flower, and I put a smaller leaf on that top flower. So that's what was going on there. And so finally my glue gun is heated up, and I can go ahead and put that flower down. I'm just going to attach that treble clef, kind of cluster it in with that flower. And then with the tag, I wanted to put a little bit of thread on it. So I have this gold thread that I had gotten at a thrift store, a huge roll of it. So I'm just going to take, and it's a thin string, so I'm using 2 strands. I'm going to do a double-stranded bow. So I just go ahead and get that tied, and it's kind of slippery because it's metallic. So I do wind up putting a little glue on the knot there to kind of hold it together. Attaching that. And I like how that just brings some more black onto the page, and it is kitty corner from the document title, so it kind of helps balance that larger title up there. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the flower. That's my largest flower, and tuck some more notes just below the flower. And so now I'm going to add that little leaf to the very top flower and just make a tiny little cluster up there. I think for a moment of putting it on the other side of the title, and that just didn't work for me. I wanted to kind of keep my clusters kind of over in that stenciled flower, because it kind of looks like those blooms are kind of on that stenciled flower. And then I'm just putting a couple more notes in my clusters. And just kind of keeping those clusters together. And then I'm really loving this so far. And I go ahead, I think I get a paintbrush or something, yeah, and I'm just kind of getting rid of any loose glitter from those flowers, have a little bit of glitter on them, and then getting rid of all my glue strands as well. And so now I'm trimming some off the bottom and one side, because I decided I was going to go ahead and mount this on some cardstock, because putting the distress stain on there does kind of bubble it a little bit. I had that cardstock from my Scraptastic kit this month, but it was a little bit too pink, so I had this lighter pink from a previous month, and I'm going to go ahead and use that to mount my page. And I'm using a lot of adhesive here because, like I said, it warped a little bit putting the distress stain on there, so I just have to kind of stretch it back out. And that does a great job. Just putting a little more on that edge. And then my last thought was to use my distress stain to make some splatters on here. And I go ahead and I choose one, but then I open the distress stain and I remember there's a dauber on there, and I didn't really want to pry the dauber off because I figured that would probably mess it up for later. So I go back to my trusty gold Heidi Swap ink, and I'm just doing my splatters with the gold, and I'm kind of following again kind of in a crescent shape over near those stenciled flowers. And I really love just how those splatters just kind of, I don't know, it loosens the layout up, makes it a little more casual. So there's that upper cluster and the cluster over by my title. You can see the soft pinks and golds and stuff. And my gold thicker title. And that is my finished layout. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions or anything, just leave me a comment below. And there is my husband doing a little bit of a photobomb, waving goodbye to you guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye.